Alright, welcome back to the EV Nova Vell-os storyline. So when we last left off, we were just instructed, or rather not instructed, but sort of keep an eye out in the bars for the next part of the Vell-os storyline, but we have had little success in getting that to fire. So I think at this point we're just going around investigating potential Mihari members and waiting for that to fire. So maybe we'll go back to doing our trade route, because we do want to eventually get our nothing really interesting here. Get our Kestrel at the end of this campaign. So maybe we'll just hire our usual escort of terrapins. We have more than enough money to hire an entire fleet of them. The question is the game going to let us before it runs out of used terrapins to hire? Come to think of it, I probably shouldn't even be hiring them used, because used they have, I think, slightly less cargo capacity than new. But it's not going to make too much of a difference for our purposes. We're still going to traffic more than enough cargo to make this worthwhile. It might be worth switching down to the Dart, because I think it goes faster. But, hey. This way, if we see any neat Auroran ships in the way, we can blow them up with little difficulty. Just the wild geese. They're a whole thing. If you watch the pirate campaign, you are familiar with the wild geese storyline. It is, it's okay. You end up doing it so many times that you really don't want to do it again. There's 3 separate routes for the wild geese. There's the one that leads to the Auroran campaign, one that leads to the pirate campaign, and then there's one that does not lead to a campaign and instead has its own little mission associated with it called the Knight of the Red Branch, which is, I think, far more interesting, but the chance for it to fire is like 5%. So I've only seen it a handful of times. But maybe one day we'll get that to fire. I'll make a video for it, and maybe just make a video just for that and just grind it till it eventually fires and use that. Once again, nothing interesting, just a bunch of more investigate Mihari. We're not going to worry about it then. But, yeah, that's something I've been thinking about for the videos, is there are certain things which just have such a low chance of occurring, they might warrant their own video just to show what happens when it does occur. Kind of a video record of any future people who are interested in the events in this game. Because I don't know how interesting it'll be for people to sit around and watch, oh, well, he's reloading the game for the millionth time to get Knight of the Red Branch to fire the way he wants it to. Just a thought. Just something I'm pondering. But for the time being, running through the main storylines I think is painless enough as it is. I have been considering maybe making a pilot and duplicating it so we can always start at the same civilian start, so to speak. Like, make one which already has like a star bridge and already has like Sigma access and that kind of thing. That way we don't have to go through the same starting missions to do every storyline. But I kind of find the starting missions to be, relaxing, and sometimes you end up with interesting things going on. So I'm of two minds about it, so to speak. This really doesn't want to fire. Let's get up to 5 million credits, and then we can go gallivanting around. Maybe we'll blow up some pirates. That's always fun. Or maybe blow up some rebellion. They actually put up a better fight than the pirates. And if we get really lucky, we can maybe capture one of their ships. Nothing interesting going on there. The Aurorans are not my problem. At least not at the moment. Getting close to 5 million. Alright. This should do it. Gone are the days of running out of money trying to do this little route by hiring too many used terrapin. Just goes to show, if you do the math, you don't have any problems. Don't just go with the gut feeling. Dagda's Strength. I don't know if I've ever run into Dagda's Strength. Greetings. Last time I was in Palin, the price of equipment is very high. I don't think I've ever seen that ship before. Interesting. Alright. Boom. Breached 5 million. Let's go take a couple of the confirmed Mihari missions. We'll dump this fleet I just assembled. And we'll go hunting some Mihari. not you. Oh, shush. Alright. So where is it going to send us? I'm guessing to, yeah, to the usual places. As usual, the best place to find pirates of these options is definitely going to be Nurse Primus. Or alternatively find Rebellion. Free trader. Alright, so we're going to slow down. We're going to take it nice and easy. Just tap it. Just, you know, tap it in. It's like golf. Ooh, I can't take the shot for them. So better board this. You can capture. Interesting. Interesting. I guess the problem is we're not allowed to have Marines, so whatever our capture chance is, that's it. No way to increase it. But interesting. We should try to get a rebel ship. Think that'd be fun? I think that'd be fun. Ask and ye shall receive. Where are you? Ah, well. That's what happens when there's a Fed carrier bumping around. So we get the person who's a Mihari. No interesting things going on there. Let's see if we can hire Marines. Oh, yeah, we can. Let's get 4 of those. Seeing as we're not going to use our cargo space for anything else. I guess it makes sense. They're people. And we've proven already that we can ferry around people. Alright. So, association, yada yada yada. USS Eisenhower. So, I could get an Abomination. This is actually probably one of my favorite ships in the game. I don't know why. It's just... It's kind of like the Auroran's answer to the Starbridge. Where strictly speaking, they call it their answer to the Fed patrol boat. But I think it's just a fun ship. There's a lot you can do with it. Nothing interesting going on there. And I think our last one is going to be in Moonrise. Although, so Moonrise, that name brings to mind an interesting observation about this game. Is none of the planets, or actually very few of the planets, this one does have a moon, but a lot of them don't have moons. Also, a lot of them don't have stars. Like, there's no sun in the solar system. I think it's just implied. But still, you would think the sun would be there. That is one thing that, also, you don't have all the planets in the solar system, which is a little bit interesting. Not too worried about it, but it's just interesting. Come here. Yeah. Yep. Just get really hated with the Rebellion. And you know what? I'm okay with that. We'd probably go up to the Rebel system and just get ourselves a Rebel ship and have some fun in that. Truth be told, it's probably not as good as the ship we're using, but hey, it'll be fun. And at the end, it's all about having fun. Man, they just... Where is the prompt for this next part of the story? Ah, well. So let's go up to the Korea system and try to get ourselves a rebel ship. Just for the fun of it. We will make a pit stop in Seoul. Also, another interesting thing is, I believe this is Mars. What am I doing? There we go. Yep, Mars. We have Earth, we have Jupiter. We have Europa, which is a moon. We don't have the moon, though. And I'd really like to know why Earth has no moon in this galaxy. Maybe we blew it up, Dragon Ball style. Because you'd think that'd be something you just put in. I mean, if you put in... whatever. It's not worth getting worked up about. I'm sure someone has made a mod for this game that puts in the moon. So one thing to keep in mind is if we do capture a ship, we'll have to outfit it exclusively with things that do not require a license. But I think that's okay, because I don't think we're forbidden from getting Auroran technology, which means we can put railguns on it. And you know I love my railguns. Railguns are the best. Come on. There we go. So always take the credits first, even if that means you get blown up. And let's go bother Korea. Yeah, they're not about us being here. But there's also no one else in the system besides the Sigma Leviathan. I could destroy the Sigma Leviathan, but there would be really no point in doing that. So what I really want to see would be a Rebel Starbridge. I think those are kind of fun. I do not want a Pirate Thunderhead, so I'm just going to blow it up. Ah, Rebels. There we go. Yes, hello. Come fight me. I will win, I promise you that. Boop. Boop. Ah, blew it up. And again. Alright, maybe a destroyer. Well, that sure happened. Maybe I do need to go down to 1x speed to do this. Disappointing. Pirate Argosy. I'll be taking that. Oh, hey, whoa, whoa. Here is the guy. I missed the Y key. I can't accept your resignation this week. I have had too many already. That was the guy's old boss, but he actually escaped before being blown up by, like, any ship in the game. I wonder if he quit his job to work on this game. Probably did. Alright, 1x speed. Just gonna... Ah, still overdid it. It's a delicate balancing act, I tell you. That one I just destroyed because we were getting a little bit beat up there. Alright, so we're not having a whole lot of success with this. I will deal with this pirate, though, just because I can. On second thought, I should have let it capture the Pegasus. Or I should have let it disable the Pegasus so I could board it. That's kind of one of the sneaky things you can do, is that if you don't disable it yourself, generally you're okay to board it. Oh, is that a Type 4 Pirate Valkyrie I see? It is. It was. This is really not working, is it? Alright. Well, not that this isn't entertaining, but maybe we should at least try to do it in systems where we can get the proc for the storyline. Yes, hello. Goodbye. And you, I can at least... I was going to say I was going to play with it, but... That's what I want. And I even did it right, too. Alright, Destroyer. Let's dance in such a way that you're not going to blow up my catch here. Oh, almost did. Okay. Just gonna... Oh, so subtly. 25% chance, and we whiffed. We whiffed on it. Ah, I hate to see it, don't you? Hello. They got me. I must admit, I got ambushed. They got me. Alright. Well, maybe that's enough messing around. We'll still go to Nurse Primus in an effort to try to get the thing to fire, but I would not mind capturing a ship for fun. Once again, it's just more of these confirm Mihari missions. Very weird. Maybe the next plot hook has to come from New England, and that's why it keeps sending you back there. Hello. My quarry is at hand. I have not selected my weapon. Oh, this could be bad. There we go. Alright. Not that that isn't entertaining, but it's definitely not productive. Oh, that's just the same one. Oh, come on, give me the mission. Alright. Back to T'Chell. Finally. Alright. As soon as you glide down to land, you cannot help but smile when you see Florian waiting in the spaceport. I see you've grown since we last met, and you look like life as a slave is wearing you down. Perhaps I can offer you some temporary cheer. Have you yet learned about the Javelin or the Autumn Petal? So it's Autumn Petal, not Autumn Bloom or whatever. You shake your head, smiling in eagerness. He laughs and pokes you in the shoulder with his telekinetic finger. Well, watch closely, he says aloud, and I will show you how. You sit down, preparing to follow Florian's mind, when suddenly your mind is filled with images of him weaving a javelin into existence around himself. After a few moments of surprise, you adjust to the different method of teaching and begin following Florian's steps, weave by weave, until you've created a javelin of your own. New ship, and once again, it's not as profound an upgrade as the Dart, but our hull is definitely more substantial now. As soon as you recognize that you've picked up the lesson, he begins bombarding your mind with images of him weaving a flower of spring, quickly turning it into a summer's bloom, and then weaving what appears to be falling petals around it, containing the enormous energy he is pouring into it. You spend several seconds recreating his weaves, whilst getting commentary from Florian until you are both satisfied. He ends the connection as quickly as it started, and you come away grinning, but a little puzzled as to why he taught you differently than Lyral. Lyral is a T1. Even though I'm a strong T2, his abilities far outstrip mine. Not to mention that as a T1, he can unify the energy of several telepaths at once into one wave of energy to use at his disposal. Anyway, speaking of Lyral, he has been talking to Crane, and she wants to meet you in New England. I hope that I have cheered you up at least a little bit. You're going to need it if you have to deal with her. The lack of punctuation does make reading their dialogue difficult, but we might actually be, well, not close to the end, but definitely getting to be end adjacent. And now we can create a fleet of darts. So we have these lovely Vell-os darts. We can actually now use fleet commands to tell them where to go. I just realized that now we bought all of those Marine platoons. I don't think we kept them. I think they get lost with the other ship. But there are worse things in the world. My only complaint about the Vell-os Javelin, as you can tell, it is far slower. We can use an afterburner. All Vell-os ships just have their own afterburner, so hold down the Z key, and you can zip around a bit, but I don't know. The Javelin, it's a very powerful ship, but it does kind of like... They're all good for different playstyles. I think the Arrow is most closely resembling the playstyle I usually use. So, you agree by the soldier who is normal contact, and you quickly confirm to him the Bureau's suspicions. You add that it is easy to spot the Mihari because their minds, oh, this is just the same one as always. I forgot I had done the Mihari hunt. So you can sense the plotting mind of Commander Crane waiting for you as you slide down through the atmosphere. As soon as you dissolve your protective barrier, she comes over. We are going to start going about looking for Mihari a little more cleverly, she begins with that preamble. Now you say you can detect them easily? You nod, realizing the Bureau may have found a way to exploit your attempts to save the Mihari. Excellent, she says in a satisfied tone. Here's what I want you to do. Simply put, look around. Keep your telepathic senses open. I want you to find these damn Mihari, and when you do, I want you to report back here. Understand? You nod, your heart sinking in your chest. Good, she replies quietly. Now get to work. Well, I guess we have our mission, so to speak. And I think that's just fly around until you find, I believe, Miranda. So I'm going to just try Soul real quick. But I think she's actually in a fairly nondescript system. Just for some reason that's, rings a bell. So can't do anything here. Oh, I see a pirate. So let's show up our Autumn Petal. That's the Autumn Petal. And you know what? It's fairly substantial. I have few complaints about the effectiveness of the Autumn Petal. The Winter's Tempest is just insane, though. I don't think the Winter's Tempest tracks, now that I'm thinking about it. I think that is only a Autumn Petal thing. Alright, so we've got Rebel Informant. However, here's the new thing. As soon as you land, you can sense the foreign thought patterns of Mihari from across the globe. You take the trouble to go and get pictures of the Mihari in a local bar, so the Bureau will be able to identify the man should they need to. After getting the photos processed, you head back into space with a heavy heart to report to Commander Crane. After getting the photos processed, you can tell how old this game is. Alright, so that's one. Apparently we have to land on Cirrus 2, or Cirrus Prime. Rebel Informant, sure. Nothing interesting. Could capture a trader. Let's try doing that, because we are in a terminus system, so we can at least capture a trader easily enough. Because there's... Oh, we're not in a terminus system. Why do I always make that mistake? I could have even checked with the map function. I don't need to take out a pirate carrier. I was tempted, but the association... Why poke the bear if I don't have to? Trader. Okay. So 1x speed. Just gonna tap it. Tap it in. It's like working on your putting. There we go. I think the autumn petal might be weaker or something. Because this seems way easier than it had been. You can actually see we're kind of transparent floating over him. Alright, back to 2x speed. Destroy him. For those who are unaware, just turning on caps lock turns on 2x speed. And really, if you ask me, it's more like turning off 2x speed is like turning on slow motion. Because really you operate at most times at 2x speed in this game. There's no real reason to go down to 1x. Unless you really want to try to weave between missiles or something. Alright. You're going for the soldier, Rebel Informant. Rebel Informant. Here's the new one. You reach out and touch Commander Crane's mind, manipulating it slightly so she hears a voice telling her to meet you at the spaceport as you slide down through the atmosphere. Not more than 10 minutes later, she walks out onto the concourse. Found something, have we? Okay, Yoda. She says, smiling, but you can sense that your demonstration of your telepathic abilities has disturbed her. Well, don't just stand there, tell me. You hand over the photos and relate to her that they were taken before going on to confirm that the person in them is a Mihari, or where they were taken. Good work, she compliments you. Don't stop looking, though. We only have a fairly incomplete idea about how their network is set up. As she walks away, you cannot help but cringe at the thought of getting complimented by such an evil person. And once again, you are left completely deflated. Alright. Oh, this is the traitor one. You're met by a 4-man Bureau team who quickly take control of the prisoner after you dissolve your protective shell, and they direct you to a nearby Bureau official. Good work, he says, handing you a datapad showing your newly clean Federation record on it. After hearing your story, that should cover any damage done to your record. We will contact you again when we require your services. You wondered blah 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 blah, mixed up in the business. Just yesterday you were a simple trader, now you are an indentured kidnapper. So it's the exact same dialogue with kidnapper replacing assassin. Same as before. Alright, so I guess we have carte blanche just to fly around for a while. See what there is to see. I don't know why I have my darts here. Oh, hey. Boom, there we go. Another one of those events for finding a Mihari. I wonder if that one's Miranda. I keep talking about Miranda, but she is important. And you'll see exactly why she is important. In actually a couple other campaigns. I think even in this one she shows up and is important. Another report. Okay. To your surprise, you can sense Commander Crane already waiting for you as you gently slide down through the atmosphere. I take it you have another Mihari to report, she asks grimly, and you nod. Whereabouts? You tell her the exact location and hand over the photos. Okay, she nods, barely even glancing at the photos, and you can tell, even without touching her mind, that things are starting to start rolling. We've come up with a plan to deal with these Mihari, and we'll be needing your skills. Meet me in the bar in 1 hour. Alright. So we're going to the bar. You spend an hour sitting in the quiet corner of the bar, keeping tabs on the locations of Commander Crane, as she flits from one corner of Bureau HQ to another. But as soon as the hour approaches, she makes her way to the bar, and you can sense in her a new focus. The Mihari threat is too large to deal with solely from this end, she informs you quietly. We believe we have located most of their network, but it would be too difficult for us to shut it down without them shutting down and going to ground. Oh, so running away, essentially. And given the skills that we've seen displayed by these Mihari so far, we would be hard-pressed to pull in more than about half of the ones that we're aware of. So we need something else for them to focus on, she tells you more seriously. We need the Polaris to bring as many of the resources as possible so we can concentrate our efforts and nab as much of their network as possible in one single operation. So what are we going to do? Now, as you may or may not know, Crane explains with a smile, the Auroran operation went forward without a hitch some months ago, and we now have a unified ally that shares a border with the Polaris. So I am ordering you to raise an Auroran task force, she continues forcefully, that is currently forming in the Sendar system. Once you have met the task force on the Kunjo station, oh, so Kunjo are back, you are to proceed to the Polaris capital Kalarlai in the Kalari system, doing as much damage along the way as possible. You are to act primarily as a guide, but do not flinch from helping the Aurorans do their work. However, Crane cautions quietly, the Auroran ships are largely irrelevant. If they do not survive to return to Auroran space, I won't be shedding any tears. As it is, going to be vexing enough to have to barter with the Moash to gain control over the Polaris. Oh, because they're going to want to annex them themselves. Any questions? She asks, and you shake your head, despairing at the damage you are about to inflict. No? Good. So we're going to go do that. I think we can fit it in the 5 minutes or so we have left in the episode. I mean, getting down there usually would take quite a while, but again, the Polaris are pretty fast, so I'm not too concerned. But we're going to go all the way down here. Oops, I pressed F. That is the system find function, which can be very useful if you don't know where you're going. Me, I think I've memorized most of the important systems locations at this point, just from playing this game probably more than is healthy. So we're just zipping right along. We are already nearing our destination. We are probably gonna have to maybe fight some of the Tekel, just because that house doesn't particularly like us. And as you can see here, just through flying through those systems, we have gotten free information about the Auroran Empire. And if I am so inclined, I can show you a neat little thing about the Tekel system. So you sense the awe-filled reaction of the waiting Aurorans as they watch you slide down to the landing pad. As soon as you dissolve your protective shell, an older warrior with hundreds of small tattoos covering his exposed areas of flesh makes his way over and introduces himself as the task force commander, Ar-Kach. You are here to guide us into battle against the mysterious Polaris, no? He asked in a soft, almost sibilant voice, and you nod, sensing that he is one of the most physically capable men you have ever met. We will need a couple of hours to make our final arrangements. Maybe in the bar in 3 hours, and then we will be ready. With that, he turns on his heel, and you watch him give a few quiet orders, whereabout his men scurry into action. Alright. So, this is actually kind of interesting on the Kunyo station, the little blurb. So, named for the predators from Kunyo Loft in the Tu system, this station was built to keep an eye on the mysterious Polaris. Many young warriors set off from here to earn battle honors, and also seek the coveted purple battle tattoo. It can only be earned in battle against the Polaris, as there is no more formidable opponent. Even surviving such an encounter shows skill, if not necessarily courage. And that just talks about who controls the Auroran Empire. But I think is the interesting part, that you get your purple tattoo if you survive a battle with the Polaris. It doesn't say win a battle with the Polaris, because, as you will see here, they kind of have trouble with doing that when they're up against, like, scarabs and arachnids. So, you can sense the almost arrogantly self-confident mind of Ar-Kach moving around, receiving orders and giving orders as you sit in the fairly deserted bar. The more you study the man, the more you come to admire him. You can sense his awesome sense of honor, which he uses to guide his every decision, and you are more than a little impressed by his incredible physical capabilities. You can even sense he dislikes his fellow Moash warriors, whom he despises as dishonorable and soft. When he walks into the bar, slightly more than 3 hours later, he apologizes for being tardy, but you wave it away as being irrelevant. He bows in response. We're ready to go, he tells you after a short bow. All we need is your guidance. You nod, and with a sinking heart, remember Crane's order to make sure that none of the Auroran ships survive the operation. You guess that the shady Moash sent a troublesome but effective Ar-Kach with exactly that in mind. Yeah, probably true. So we get to do our little Auroran suicide mission. Alright, so here's our battle group. It is impressive, to say the least. And there's an arachnid, which we are not going to attack just because I have no inclination to lose the battle group when we're still in Auroran space. That seems wasteful and silly. So someone tipped off the Polaris, and they really don't like us at this point. So, gonna be honest, the Vell-os ships are strong, but the Polaris ships are almost definitely stronger. So we're just going to fly into the Kalari, and we're just going to attack there. There's no point in laying siege to any of the other stuff. Yeah. Hello. Let me just get my autumn petal. So I'm flying away just because those mantis, look how much damage they did to us just by doing that. I don't particularly want to tangle with any of this stuff close up. Ah, damn. As you can see, our hull is practically non-existent against those Wraithai, so we really have to be careful about how we approach this. I think we might have to send in our battle group and then try to loop around while they're distracted with the fleet. You can actually play a strict version of this game where it's permadeath. But really all that boils down to is you just always have an escape pod, and the escape pod will just reset the game. So I'm not sure if it's really that much different, except you do keep your credits and stuff. But it's not all that fun, just because even with the escape pod, it resets like what you're doing too. So it won't remember that you were, you know, bloody hell. It won't remember what you were doing storyline-wise. It will set you at the beginning of the game. I think it skips the tutorial, mercifully enough, but yeah, it's really a weird sort of thing. Can we do something about all these manta? I guess I'll have to do something about all these manta. Ah, they're brutal. Alright, okay. We might have to run the blockade. And you know what? I think that's the most fun anyway. We're just going to blitz down to Kalari, or Kelari, or however you pronounce the Polaris names. And once we do that, we're going to call the episode because we're going a little bit over time anyway, which is kind of the normal operating procedure, but still. Cue up the autumn petal before we do this, and then just mash the land button. Perfect. Working as intended. So, as soon as you land, you are staggered by several thousand mines attacking you at once, and all the telepaths amongst the Polaris attack you in a desperate attempt to protect their home planet. None of their attacks is anywhere near enough to destroy you, but the sheer volume nearly overwhelms you. In desperation, you begin to twist their attacks away in groups out into space, but it is not enough. It seems like an eternity, but after a titanic battle of around 15 seconds, they break through all of your barriers and stab into your mind. In a moment of sheer panic, you try to expel all of the energy coming into your mind in a single powerful burst, which you control by adding weaves of storm clouds around the summer bloom. You realize in the back of your mind that you've managed to create the devastating Winter Tempest attack, and it really is pretty devastating. Suddenly you understand that if you were to use the energy the Polaris telepaths are pumping into you, you are in absolutely no danger of being overwhelmed. Okay. You begin dancing amongst the Polaris, using their own energy to build barriers around their telepathic senses to stop them from attacking. Within moments, the Polaris see the futility of their efforts and the attacks cease. In a flash of inspiration, you realize that you can now see how your brain functions as separate from your mind. With trembling fingers, you reach back and remove the enslavement device, watching with interest the flares of activity in the back, or in the parts of the brain that it controls, but keeping them from affecting you. In moments, you are finally free. Alright, there we go. We have been freed from our enslavement. Or rather, we've freed ourselves. How do you survive the destruction of your nanites? Asks one of the nearby Polaris after several awestruck moments. And with that comment, you realize how these evil devices retain their control over even the most powerful Vell-os telepaths. These devices destroy the nanites that are a biological necessity for every Vell-os. Alright. Then in a moment of surprise, you can sense that Arkok managed to reach an escape pod and is being transported to the surface. You reach out and manipulate his mind, telling him to meet you in the bar. But I think that is where we're going to call this episode. We've actually gained a little bit more shield for our efforts, just for our telepathic awesomeness. Maybe we can finally hire those as escorts, and then we can do some trading. But yeah, we're going to call this episode here. So thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and leave a comment. It really helps the channel. If you want to see more of this content, please consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you later.